Oh wow. Hello. Hello guys. Wow, it's been a while. Been a while I did a videos again. I'm sorry about that. I've been very busy with my internships and job seeking stuff. But I want to let you know that we are still working on the mod with the rim block. I mean, actually we've been actively working for a couple of last months every day. After work we come back at home and we do a lot of coding, and because we do a lot of coding, unfortunately there's nothing really we can show you apart, you don't really want to see our boring code. um, so we haven't done any visual stuff, at least haven't done much of it. There is an update to the terrain. Yes, it's now 20 kilometers wide, but after spending 3 days rendering the sat maps, it ended up looking pretty bad, and we still need to roll out like fix some of the areas, and so we'll need another few days of rendering, and so we actually decided to go back to the coding for a while now, and don't do anything with terrains or 3D modeling for now. Anyway, that's that. So that's that. Okay, quick disclaimer: if you don't know what I'm doing and what I'm working on, and you're here because of the title of this video, yes, I will be explaining how FSMs work in Arma. I haven't seen anyone else doing this on YouTube. Why? I don't know, because they're not that complicated and they're actually pretty simple. They're like if you know basics of SQF scripting, you should actually, to be honest, be able to work with FSMs easy. I mean, literally easy. Anyway, before I start, I want to let you know that there won't be any AI code here. Okay, I know FSMs are used for AI a lot. Not necessarily you have to do it. The way I look at FSMs is it's essentially a programming style of the same syntax. Okay, so no, there won't be any AI code. Sorry, but you can, after seeing this video, you will be able to do AI coding yourself very comfortably. So what the FSM is? FSM is a finite state machine, and you probably know that already. Most of you know that. It's the FSM. It comes from many. It was designed many decades ago. Essentially, it's used in robotics, and it's used to create some sort of artificial intelligence, to make like to emulate a kind of like, how do I put this? It's not true intelligence. It's more like a fake intelligence to make it look like it's an intelligence is actually there, and it's there are another one for used for AI, which is more complicated. It's just called neural networks. That's something we're definitely not covering here. The FSM is just a bunch of states. So basically, yes, on or off states. Okay, and so essentially FSM is used everywhere in electronics as well, even in circuit boards. So you have these on and off switches everywhere, even in your CPU. It's all ones and zeros. So what we're gonna look at as is called FSM editor, which is a node-based visual representation of let me call this a config scripting. So essentially it is a config based scripting. Arma 3 has config files, and then the SQF files. Config files are being compiled, and it just consists of a bunch of classes. So FSM would be literally that config based scripting. You take these configs and you make working scripts out of it. Don't make that discourage you or scare you away. It's not that complicated. It's actually very simple, and there is one reason of you should learn the FSMs, because if you're the type of a guy who has this code and you absolutely hate using these bunch of if statements, you can use FSM, or you can use switch, but switch is slow, so FSM probably is probably faster than using a switch. And then again, you have a lot of different variables to switch through, so you don't want to use multiple switches, and you definitely don't want to go with 10 or 20 if statements. So in that case, FSM is the way to go. So when you open the FSM editor, the first thing that greets you is this red semi-square eclipse shit thingy. So it's an init state or start state. If I click it now, you can see FSM state. It's called the start state, and the ID is 1. So each state or each code will have its ID, and then you have init code or a precondition. I don't know if preconditions are even working, but yeah, we're not gonna be using preconditions. We're only gonna use init code. Excuse me. Now, and then we will be using these 3 buttons here. One is for creating boxes. The other one is for arranging boxes, and the third one is for drawing links from boxes. And then before I start with the boxes, I'm going to show you quickly how to create a box. So one way of doing it is by drawing a box. This one here is a blank a comment box, if you will. So this one won't work by itself. Okay, so if I double click the red box, I can give it a name, and this one here. So comments here, and that's all it is really. It's just a comment box. You can right click it and you can convert it to anything else, any state or condition, and then you can also you have it a special shape, if you want, like a diamond or something. So for now, I'm just gonna delete it. And in FSM editor, you can only work one particular way. So what the biggest difference between FSM editor and SQF is obviously the graphical node-based programming. Another very big difference that is not mentioned anywhere is that well, it's mentioned obviously a lot of places, but when people ask for the differences, nobody mentions this. Is in SQF you can work with if then else. FSM is different. It doesn't work that way. FSM only works if condition is true. Okay, and so another thing is that you cannot have 2 codes or 2 conditions after each other linked together. So you cannot link 2 conditions, or you cannot link 2 codes. You can only have condition, code, condition, code, condition, code. So and actually, if you choose the third tool here, draw links, you can actually see that happening already automatically. So if I just draw, it creates a condition. If I draw again, it creates a code, condition, code, condition, code, etc., etc. You can have you can link 2 conditions from one code, but they'll have to end up somewhere else. Yes. And you can link 2 codes from one condition. Can you? I think you can, yes. So I'm just gonna undo that, and I'm not sure why I'm using undo, and then it just resets the whole thing. This FSM editor is probably from fucking 90s or 80s, so yeah, it's kind of shit. But it still works, so whatever. And then so what we're gonna do now, before we proceed with the in-game, we're gonna quickly make a small FSM. So we have init state, and we're gonna go draw a condition, and then we're gonna draw an end state. So we're gonna right click and press end state, and connect the condition to the end state, organize, and we're gonna convert this one to true condition. Okay, so we have condition, which can be anything, if cat is alive, you know, it's a global boolean. We can just convert it to true condition is always true. Always true. And we have so now we have an FSM. We have a start state which takes parameters in from the game. It's always true. It will just skip this part and it will end. It will destroy the FSM. In the SQF script, the similar command is called terminate. But in Arma 2.3, you don't really use that. Once the script ends, if there is no loops in it, it will just destroy itself. And you can use handles to check out if it actually destroyed itself. Let's save it. Let's give it a FSM name. Call it tut. And another thing you have to do is you need to assign compile config. A compile config essentially. Hold on, let me actually just quickly choose it. So you can find compile inside the FSM editor folder where you installed it itself. There are a few different compile styles. So we'll be working with the scripted FSM, which is kind of like SQF FSM. There are a few other ones I'm not going to be covering, okay? And what these does is they're like, I like to think of them as like a header files. They add a bunch of comments in your code when you export it or when you compile it. And these comment codes are used by the FSM editor when you open the FSM file to decompile it again into a readable and usable node-based code. So if you don't have these comment lines, you won't be able to open the file in FSM editor anymore. But the game will still work. The game will still understand it. Let me demonstrate that. Okay, so we've chosen scripted FSM. We will save this out to a desktop. Tut. And you have two choices: BIFSM, which I believe is some kind of compiled FSM. So it's like a compile file node, something with keys, I suppose. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. So yeah, I think it's like a final stage or something. Anyway, and then we have compiled FSM. Okay, I save it. Yes, I already have one for some reason. Let me just pop open the desktop, cut it out, so and get my tools back again. And yeah, before we go, these are the files we're working. See, we have quite a lot of data there, quite a bit, and so the mod is growing slowly. We're implementing new features as we go. Actually, we have quite a lot of features. We have working multiplayer framework as well. We have working databases. Yeah, server client structure, which is cool. Anyway, so we go into Arma 3 root folder and we create a new folder, and it's gonna call it underscore tut. Underscore because it kind of puts the folder on top, so somewhere on top. And you know, you can use exclamation mark or whatever you want. I'm gonna use underscore tut and paste my FSM in there. And before we go again, I want to show you what the FSM looks like in the notepad. In the notepad, the FSM essentially becomes, you see all these bunch of classes. So if you put the language to C++, you can see, you probably recognize it immediately. This is config based programming. Okay, there's a bunch of classes. So we have class FSM, then we have states, init state, and then we have end state. And then we have the condition called always true. If you remember, we created one. And then you have all these bunch of comments. You have a header. Header is used to link or draw items in the FSM editor, and these yeah, these are used, the FSMs, like a state in it. You can see this one, the code goes here. We don't have any code yet, but the code goes here, and the code for the condition goes here, and code for end state goes here. And these comments here are used for the compiler to put them all back together. Don't worry. There are several people who actually prefers scripting FSMs inside the Notepad++, or any IDE you're using. Instead of using the FSM editor itself, the visual one, they actually prefer working from the config-based config files. Yeah, I mean, it's not that complicated. I mean, it looks really like there's a pattern. You have init name, you have precondition, and then all that crap. You only fill the stuff you actually care about. If you do it by hand, obviously you won't be using preconditions, so you can delete that part. It will still be there, but the file will not contain it, so it will kind of read faster, if you know what I mean. So if you have larger FSMs, if you do them by hand, they might be slightly faster than done by the editor. Okay, enough with that. Let's open the game. And yeah, and then you always want your RPTs close to you, just in case. You can find your RPT logs in C users, your name, update the local Arma 3. I talk a lot. I'm sorry. Okay, we open the editor. I'm not gonna use virtual. I know it flows faster, but I just want to show you my second revision of the map, which is 20 kilometers big. So that's our new map now. I'm not gonna show you how it looks exactly, but let's spawn on a flat surface. Yeah, I just want to show you a small preview of what it looks like. What you guys gonna be seeing soon-ish, hopefully. Yay, new textures. So that took me 3 days to render these new textures. I was working on the new how do you put it? A snow algorithm in a world machine. So it looks more realistic kind of stuff. And I ended up with this fucking scratch shit like that. So I'll need to think of something. Alright, back to FSMs. My bad. Not sure why they saved that. Yes, I had a failed video. I had to start over. Right, so again, let's see. Now, we're gonna execute something very simple. Okay, so we have init state. We're gonna have I'm gonna use system chat. System chat only takes strings, remember that. Okay, so I'm gonna call it init done. Don't need it unless you put another code. You don't really need semicolons, but okay. And we have condition true, and then we have the end state. And again, system chat the end. It's fine. Save it out. Just to be sure, I'm gonna close this. Okay, I'm gonna open this again, just for the sake of it, sake of my own sanity. Yeah, there we go. It didn't save, and that's because I only moved the file, and I still had the FSM editor open, and I think I just made another FSM on the desktop. I freaking knew it. Sorry. So init done, and system chat and state done. Yes, there you go. Finally. It's the little things, It's the little things. Right, so now we execute it. We're not gonna send it we're not gonna send it any parameters, so what are you doing? Okay, so is another thing. Remember we created a new folder in an Arma 3 root folder? You can actually access that from the editor. You can't do this in the multiplayer environment, so that this only works from the editor because you are the server. But the similar method works on dedicated server side. If you are doing a dedicated code, you can also do stuff like this. Right, so tut backslash tut.fsm. Let's launch it, and we have our system chat in the bottom left saying init done, and then say done. It was pretty fast. Let's measure the code, shall we? Oh, actually, one thing I want to tell you that you cannot suspend the code in the FSM. It is unscheduled environment. Okay, so if you work with debug console, this is the best example I can give you. If you work with debug console, you know you can't put slip code in here because it's also unscheduled environment. But if you use a spawn and then you sleep, then it'll essentially sleep. The same goes with the FSM editor. If you spawn the function, it will go to sleep. But we can do sleep a little bit differently without spawning anything, and that is done by diag tick time in the FSMs. So let's actually add some delay to this. Let's say change this to normal condition, and let's send it our current time, diag tick time. I'm putting it into brackets, a parentheses. Because it's a code I want to compile before sending, so it's a variable. I want to grab that. We probably don't even need parentheses, but I'm still gonna go with it because I want to capture I want to be sure that the parameter is actually captured, compiled, and everything, and the code is there. Kind of like this. You put parentheses for if you want to execute a code before you send it as a parameter. But this is fine. I still want to do it this way. I feel more comfortable with it. So we're sending current time to the FSM, and we're gonna call it current time. Is this okay? So yeah, that's fine. And what we're gonna do here is rename this to delay, and we're gonna give it like 5 seconds delay. So we wanna do code. So we're measuring diag tick time, and we're taking away the current time minus the current time. Is it 2 hours? Yeah, it's 2 hours. And it's and so the current time. So let's say we start at 0 and we 3 seconds passed, and the 3 seconds passed minus 0 is 3 seconds passed. Or let's say we start at 1 second, and sorry, we started at 1 second and 3 seconds passed. So 3 seconds minus 1 second equals 2 seconds. So that's 2 seconds delay. So if delay is more than 5 seconds, so the new time, because this one ticks every frame, minus the current time received from the time of execution. So if current time minus the time of execution is more than 5 seconds, we're gonna go end state done, and instead we're actually gonna go system chat format and time passed since start equals %1. So now we're gonna do code, which is again the same part. I'm just gonna copy paste it. Right? so now format, system chat format. Yeah, so format creates a string essentially. So we save it out, and now because we've changed the FSM, this won't work because we just recompiled the FSM. Okay, so first thing you want to do is restart the mission. Okay, let's execute. Init done, and 5 seconds later we should receive. We didn't receive anything. Okay, let's go into RPT and see what happened. Wow. Okay, hold on, let me just quickly restart that because it's gonna keep spamming like crazy. Undefined variable car time. I did define it, didn't I? Hold on. Car time. Typo? Do you know what? Do you know what? Screw this. Minus this. Don't need dumbass variables. Just avoid that dumbass thing. Okay, so select all the RPT, and you can actually delete and save it out as an empty RPT, which is cool. Okay, let's try again. Restart. Yeah, init done. Come on, 5 seconds. There you go. Time passed since start is 5 seconds. So yeah, I probably did a typo on a variable name, although it didn't look like it. Wow. Okay, a final thing I want to show you. Obviously, you know, okay, so before we go with the final thing, the way you need to think of this is code as being init and end state as being a code, and let me just quickly draw this, and this as being as a code. So essentially a condition, yellow or blue diamonds, is an if statement. Essentially you can also have while statements and shit like that, while loops, sorry. Essentially this is an if statement, and the code is code you execute if the condition is met true. It's actually as simple as that. So for the final part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create some kind of like we're gonna simulate a connection to the server. It's not gonna be a real thing, of course, but just want to show you how this shit works, you know. So we're gonna unlink this. We're gonna keep that one in there. Reorganize, and actually unlink this as well. Stop! Oh my god, this dumbass editor. Okay, so we're gonna start with true condition, and we start with true condition because the first thing we're gonna do after init, we want to execute the code instantly. So there is no condition to be met. We just want the dumbass code. You can do it in init, but sometimes you want to keep the init box just for defining a bunch of variables. So something like this. So essentially it won't work otherwise. Like you know yourself, if you come from SQF scripting, you need to define variables before they can be checked or used somehow. You know, if is it a string, is it a boolean, is it a friggin' array or something, you know, it's an integer. So I'm gonna use init field to do that for me in this current state. So condition's true, and then we have a code, then we have delay. I'm gonna do 3 seconds this time, and then I'm gonna copy the delay. Okay, and I'm gonna make a new code box, and I'm gonna link these guys like so. There we go. So so we have init filled true, then we check it. Hold on. Okay, so we need actually gonna need one more condition. So one more condition, and move the end state here. And if you remember, I defined allow connection boolean. So we're gonna have this connected kind of stuff, and we're gonna have connection. So this is and if connection is true, we will end this FSM script. Essentially, we're gonna start from the end. And system chat format, that's fine, let's just leave it that way. So true. True. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna have a bunch of delays, or like what you call it, retries. So we're gonna check how many retries it took to connect to the server, and what else can we do? We can count how many tries it took and how long it took, essentially, to get that far. So we're gonna go with init time. So initial time is this. We don't really need to do that because we can always check this. Actually, that's true. We don't really do that. And actually, we're gonna go attempts, and so we start with 0 attempts. So and then we're gonna have attempts no chat, system chat, oh, come on, connecting to a server. Kinda. We have our delay. So essentially, if delays will be always true, okay? The reason is because we're not gonna allow connection. We're gonna be allowing connection through console, not automatically from FSM. So external source, a global variable. And because it will never meet this condition, it will just keep circling these 4 boxes. Yeah. So 2 conditions and 2 scripts. I'll just keep circling them until connection is allowed, so it can end the FSM. And as long as it's not allowed, it's just gonna endlessly go around these boxes. And so if you come from if you got like at least a bit experienced with the coding, you know this is a bad thing, because in FSM this is done every frame. So if you have let's say 60 frames per second, you don't want this code running 60 frames per second just checking some dumbass stuff. So that's why you want to add wait time or sleep time, and this time it's a condition. Yum. Used as a as a means of putting the code to sleep. Okay, so let me go from the end again. So we have attempts. Copy this one. So we have attempts equals attempts plus 1. So every time this box so every time this box is accessed, it will count the attempts plus 1. And then we can also, I suppose we can also do another one, is total time equals to diag tick time plus this. So we can also store total time in this box as well, really. So the total time took for us to put attempt boolean in the console in the game. And this one is just called connecting. So now we have 10.0 true connecting. So we're shouting out, yay, connecting to the server. We have a delay 3 seconds, then it will add to attempt, add the total time, and go back, and rinse and repeat until we change the allow connection, which will end the FSM. All good. Looks good. Let's restart the mission. Okay, and execute. So connecting to the server. Oh, okay, something went really wrong. It should be 3 seconds between each one of them. We quickly restart it, and then open RPT log. There's no errors there. Okay, so we have no errors. Oh, okay, I see what happened. It's because we're checking 3 seconds from the initial time. Okay, from the first time. When the first time it goes through a delay, and then when it goes back, it's already more than 3. It was more than 3 seconds here, so it's always more than 3, and it's gonna be always more than 3 through these guys, and it's gonna make a lot of attempts. Why did my brain just stop working? So so should we just take total time? Is more than a total time? Yeah, I suppose we can just take more than it's more than total time. No. Wait. So currently time minus. Oh no! It's minus total time. It's more than 3 seconds. There we go. This should work, right? Because we have a total time, we have the direct time, and the total time will always be constantly updated. Actually, before we go, time pass and start. Which is just the total time, really. And I forget to do this one as well. And then we have attempts. Come on. And it took attempts. Okay, let's try this one. Restart. I think I already restarted it. Okay, connecting to the server. Bitch. Yeah. You see, my logic is flawed. Oh my god. There's no errors there. Okay, hold on. Let me think this. Let me think this through. Hold on. Past 3 seconds. And then we add to the total time. Total time it took to get here. this should work, right? Sorry guys, let me pause this and I'll think this through. My bad. Okay, so I didn't figure it out, but I have a feeling that I have to store current time in both of these boxes, so I can compare it. So it's something to compare it to. So we have the init. Where is it? That's just the total time. Don't care. So initial time. Let's go with the init time. Just actually, we're gonna have to do with this. So we have initial time, and then we are connecting. You don't really need this here, actually. Initial time is diag time, or yeah, like current initial time, whatever you call it. So yes. So and then we take the delay and we take the new one. So we're gonna from the initial time, from the newly created initial time, is more than 3 seconds. Then we need to set the initial time again, right? And then we just copy this part over, and so we have a new initial time, and then we take this new initial time, and again we're checking for 3 seconds and it goes back, and then we have another new initial time. Yes, and then once we allow the connection, it should take the total time. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try that. Okay, local exec, connecting to the server, 3 seconds, should there be another message, please? Yes, there we go, another message, should be another 3 seconds. There we go, so okay, so that worked. Oh, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Alright, so now every 3 seconds it kinda, quote, quote, attempts to connect to the server. But we're not allowing it to, because we don't have this condition true. So as long as this condition is not true, we cannot end the script. To make it true, we need to set allow connection boolean to true. So let's run it for a few more seconds. Okay, that should be it. And now set allow connection to true. And there we go. Time passed since start. It took 12 attempts. Well, okay, so that time passed since start. It's kind of dumb. I should have done some math on it. You know, like the total time, like the diag time minus total time. It should be like 4 seconds. Wait, no, more than that. 12 attempts multiply 3, so that was like 36 seconds. So that should appear. So yeah, it's just my, I don't have any math in here, so it should be code diag tick time minus the total time, right? I think. quick test before we go. This is pretty much it actually. Oh, exec FSM, It was tit FSM, and we are sending it didactic time to it. There you go. Yeah. So, well, this is actually it. I mean, you can just close the browser now, or the tab, if you want to. This is where we stop. I'm just gonna wait for 4 attempts and then see if my end finished code actually did work. Please work. Our connection is true. Oh my god, I suck so bad. Sorry, it's a very early morning, 5 o'clock a.m. Wow. So I'm pretty dumb at this time. I'm only good with repetitive stuff. But you get the idea. I hope, and I really hope that the FSMs does make some kind of sense to you now. Right? It's not that complicated. It's essentially an SQF scripting. There are some advantages of using it, and then over the SQF. Obviously, you will be prototyping the SQF first. I mean, some people will probably prototype SQF anyway. I mean, it's not that complicated to figure out the FSM. You shouldn't really need to do that. Right, before I press the end button, I want to show you one last thing. See this? If we want to keep the end state here, you see this arrow going through everywhere. So that's not pretty. So one solution to this is creating new. What did I do? Creating new command line and convert it to ni. And ni is nothing. It holds nothing. It holds no code in it. It's literally there only to split these arrows. So you unlink, create a new link, then a ni, and then to the end. It essentially just breaks up the line, and then you can take the ni and prettify a little bit, so the code looks a little bit better. You can have as many ni's as you want, really. And another cool stuff here I'm gonna show you is, for example, if you have this FSM, like say client side, and you know that the server will also run this FSM, you can exclude the server from running it as well. So you can have another condition at the very start, at the beginning. So it will end up with the end code. If it's a server, it'll go, and then instead of this one, you want to instead of true, you want to go with normal condition, and is not dedicated, so exclamation mark in front. So if it's a client, then the client goes through all the connection attempts. If it's a server, it finishes immediately. And because we end state and we have a system chat format, you don't want to send it to the server. So what you can do is you can just literally take a new box, create another end state, and call it server end, and instead unlink this guy somehow. What is going on? Unlink it, and then instead link it and call it don't call anything, dialog. It was a server. Yay. So now you have 2 end states, and the same goes with the init state. If you're passing arguments and you want the arguments to be read by different conditions, you can have multiple init states. We can as well as multiple end states in this case. So if it's a client will end this client will be using this end state once it's connected, and if it's a server, is dedicated. And that is server is used for single player. Okay, so if you put is server, not is dedicated, editor, if you load it in the editor, it won't work. It will recognize it as a server. So a single player in the editor is actually a server. You are a server. So for some of you who didn't know, so use is dedicated instead if it's actually for multiplayer environment. And then of course what you can also do here is you can have another end state, maybe, you know, or maybe the same end state, doesn't matter. And you can have another check, and obviously, you know, call it too many attempts. So it took too many attempts. So let me just copy that one, just because. So there were attempts. There are more than, you know, 5 attempts. If it's true, then if it's more than 5 attempts, then you can also exit. Another knee. And you can also exit earlier without waiting for the boolean. Really, how do I prettify this shit? Yeah, something like that. Well, you get the idea. There you go. That's beautiful. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna save this FSM. Oh. Okay, it's literally just a text, really. If I open in a notepad, change the language to C++, you can see the header file and then all the code I have here in conditions. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna send it to Pastebin and then put on the bottom of this video. Let me quickly sign in so the paste stays forever. Create new paste. I'm not gonna show you what the paste looks like, what my Pastebin looks like, because it contains my name. Okay, fine, I will. And C++ syntax, expiration never. Whatever, it's public, it's fine. And submit. Okay, so I will be adding this Pastebin link to the video description below, and so you can, you know, just paste it in your notepad and create an FSM file and you can look at it yourself. So what we just did in the video. Okay, I hope that was, I hope you guys learned something. I hope that was kind of helpful for you. There will be more videos, more like Dominion mod specific videos, yes. Not soon, I'm sorry. There might be some other videos though, unrelated to anything I do. Maybe I even will have to create a new channel for that though, just to stop you guys from confusion. We'll see. But there will be more videos soon. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.